Oh, has this been a crazy week? I started what they call an elimination diet, and I'm just going to let you see the results of my diet. Elimination diet. Not actually, I changed my focus from trying to lose weight to just trying to find something I could eat. But in the process, it looks like I've lost a little bit of weight. If you compare this to last week, I don't look quite as plump as I did last week. But let me tell you, my weight's been going up and down like a yo-yo this week, and I'll tell you why. Let me see if I get this. Um, the problem is, I have discovered that there isn't much I can eat right now. My body has changed. Around 2 years ago, if I had a fruit smoothie with pineapple and with fruit and kale, and it made me lose weight. I got down to about 132 pounds, and I'm on Seroquel, which has a tendency to make you gain weight. So I decided I said, well, I have not changed my diet. I'm eating all this raw, like everybody says you're supposed to when you want to lose weight. But I was gaining weight on raw. I said, and I had said, this is really strange. I haven't changed my diet, but yet the weight keeps going up on the scale. So I decided to do a little I was getting a little concerned because when I got to 140, my blood pressure would start creeping to like 130 over 80 and stuff. And I'm used to having a blood pressure like 105 over 70. So I thought, I'm going to have to do something about this or change my diet. So I went online and did some research, and I started following Dr. Joseph Mercola. And he said I was the mixed type. I took his test, and I started his diet. And at first, I noticed my weight started going down. And then I just started feeling terrible. I said, what is wrong? He said he recommends for the mixed type for every meal you have a protein like meat, fish, chicken, with a vegetable dish, about even amounts. And then a quarter of that needs to be fats. So that's what I did. Oh my goodness, I started getting bloated out to here. I thought, oh my, I must be really, I don't understand. It's like something I'm doing. I couldn't figure it out right away. So I thought, well, I said, let me try broccoli. Because, a year ago when I took broccoli, I went way down on the scale. So I decided to just pig out. I made a broccoli smoothie. I put in a bunch of broccoli in there and mixed it with some Granny Smith apples. And I thought, super healthy. I would lose weight on this. Oh my goodness, when I had that broccoli smoothie, my stomach went out to here. I was so bloated. I felt terrible. I thought, oh my God, what in the world is wrong with me? I can't be allergic to broccoli. Tell me I'm not allergic to broccoli. But I had to face the fact. The next morning I woke up, I had diarrhea. I was dizzy, having breathing, a little bit of asthma. I thought, I'm allergic to broccoli. This can't be. So I went online and I said, okay, all right, let's look up broccoli and see if there is such a thing as a broccoli allergy. And lo and behold, I guess you can be allergic to broccoli. Well, I was reading up about the broccoli allergy. It said you may have I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this right, salicylate sensitivity. Salicylate, salicylate sensitivity. I read that and I thought, and they said, if you have a history of sensitivity to aspirin, you need to pay attention to this. I thought, yeah, I remember when I was 19, I'm 58 years old now. When I was 19 years old, I was actually in nursing school at the time, Florida State University's Bachelor of Science Nursing program. And I took some Midol, which has salicylic acid in it. And I noticed that if I took anything with salicylic acid in it, like aspirin, my heart rate would go to like 120. And I'd be laying in bed at 2 in the morning thinking, what is wrong with me? My body's going crazy. I thought it's that Midol. And I didn't quite get it. So first when this happened to me, I went to the emergency room. I thought, I don't understand. Why my pulse is so high, and I couldn't figure it out. all I knew was something was making my pulse race, and they said, we don't know. They just sent me home and said, well, just let it die off. I later, when I was in nursing school, I made the connection that it happened whenever I took Midol, but not all the time, only at certain times of the month, so it kind of confused me. But later on, I determined just avoid all products, read the labels. If the drug says salicylic acid, avoid it, and I never had that problem again. But it seems like, when I started going raw, I'm starting to get some of those old. Anyways, so it said if you have a history of sensitivity to salicylic acid, you could very well be a salicylate intolerant person, which means that if you pig out on certain vegetables and fruits, especially fruits and nuts, which means no, so I thought, oh my goodness, I spent all day doing research on salicylate sensitivity. Now, I told you earlier that I discovered yeast sensitivity. I've got that one too. So I have yeast allergy and salicylate allergy. Oh, by the way, as you can see, I lost a little bit of weight since last week, but right now I'm more concerned about just getting my body to settle down. Like, let me tell you, when I pigged out on those nuts, and especially the almonds, which are loaded with salicylates, what I did is I ate about 2 bags of almonds in one day. Almonds are very high on salicylates. The next day, man, I was like borderline anaphylactic shock, man. Oh my God, it was awful. And I was just trying to follow Joseph Mercola's diet, but I thought, so this isn't working out for me, and I thought, let's follow the salicylate diet instead. And I said, don't even worry about losing weight. Just be glad you can eat. So I just, and that you can breathe. And right now, the pollens are up. And there's one pollen out there I'm really allergic to, and that's not helping, because that means the load in my body, the allergic load is high. I used to go see allergy doctors all the time, those MDs that specialize in allergy and environmental medicine. So let me tell you, anybody out there, if you're allergic to aspirin, please pay attention to me, because salicylate intolerance is kind of tricky. It's a real condition. I just want to make sure it wasn't some hokey, bogus medical condition like histamine intolerance is bogus. Brent Spiner, who's a doctor, and Jesus told me it is. They said, Gail, don't believe the stuff online about histamine intolerance. That condition does not exist. They just made that up. The Jesuits just made that up. They're hoping that you'd go online and go to those sites and follow their advice and get all messed up and think there's all sorts of foods you can't eat, which you can. However, it appears that salicylate intolerance is a real condition. It's listed in WebMD, which they usually don't list stuff in WebMD unless, there's a reason for it. So it's listed as a condition in WebMD. And I have noticed the other day I went to Walmart and I followed, you need to go to my website. Anybody who's got aspirin allergy or sensitivity, you need to be aware of this condition, because you could very well have this and it could be causing you to gain weight and giving you asthma symptoms, and your skin. I was getting like rashes, having asthma symptoms at night where I couldn't breathe good. And I thought it was the Seroquel, because that's one of the side effects of Seroquel. But I found out that if I follow the low salicylic acid diet, that it makes it so I can breathe at night. Which is nice, because I need to be on the Seroquel. So maybe people who take Seroquel, the reason they have some breathing difficulties is because, see, the Seroquel is a detoxifier. It takes the toxins out of your cells. And people with sensitivities to those toxins could, like allergies to those toxins like I have, would develop some congestion. So it's a good thing I figured this out, because it could have gotten to the point where I wouldn't be able to take my Seroquel anymore, because I'd be getting anaphylactic shock from the Seroquel taking all the yeast toxin out of my cell. I kind of have an autoimmune condition. So anyways, back on to the aspirin allergy. If you have a history of aspirin allergy, go to my website. I have all sorts of links right towards the bottom. I've got a link for that site underneath this video. I will say this. When you go on an elimination diet, if you're an allergic person, you need to be careful because when your body has been deprived of that allergenic food, you're going to crave it like crazy. The body's like this. When you're allergic to a food, you're going to want to eat it. You'll be craving nuts or whatever you're allergic to. I don't know what it's. And you might even go through some withdrawal symptoms. I did. I went through some pretty nasty withdrawal symptoms this week. And I don't think I'm finished yet either, finding all my allergen culprits, but I think I've found about 90% of them. I've determined I'm allergic to yeast, and I'm allergic to salicylates. Salicylates are in foods like almonds, broccoli, just about all spices have a high salicylate tolerance. So I'm steaming my vegetables, not adding any spices to them. Raw foods tend to have more salicylate usually, though I hear raw asparagus is the exception. Raw tends to have more salicylate than cooked. So I'm having to drop a lot of my raw, and I'm starting to steam all my vegetables. And I have that there's kind of like controversy over which foods have high salicylate concentration and which don't. But go to my website. One source that I think is very good is that there's a book called the Salicylate Handbook, which I think is the best book out there on this subject. So if you have aspirin allergy, you might want to get that book from Amazon. Anyways, as you can see, this is how I am right now. Last week I weighed about 136. I'm down to about 3 pounds. And I might have a little bit less water retention too. So there was some abdominal swelling because of allergies. And unfortunately, my body's going to need some time to settle down. So if you have aspirin allergy, go check out my website. I have some really helpful links. You really need to be aware of this because if you're suffering from asthma, rashes, headaches, even mood swings, it can do stuff like that. And, it could be what you're eating. If you have aspirin allergy, you need to check out salicylate sensitivity. You could very well have it. So I'm making this video to make those people with aspirin aware of this. People need to know this. The doctors, for some odd reason, this condition is not getting the publicity it deserves. You hear about gluten intolerance, you hear about wheat allergy, milk allergy, soy allergy, but you don't hear about this one too much, which is the reason I never knew about it until I did an online search on broccoli. You got to be careful when you go online. I tried to pick the sites that I felt were the most reliable based on my own experience with my own body. And so here's how I look like right now. Like I said, my main concern right now is not to look like a beauty queen, but to just find something I can eat through. I'm reacting to foods because my body needs to calm down, but I'm making progress. I'm feeling much better. And now that I'm eating less allergenic foods, my weight's starting to go down. I've noticed that. So if you eat what you're allergic to, the body says, aha, toxin, I got to put it in the fat cells, and that's where it goes. So eating a allergy-free diet helps your weight and your blood pressure. When I was eating allergenic foods, my blood pressure actually was weird. It would make my blood pressure go down, and I felt dizzy. It went to like 100/65. I actually feel better when my blood pressure is about 115/65. And it would make my pulse, when you eat an allergenic food with me, my pulse rate would go up. That would explain why I had racing tachycardia pulse when I had aspirin. So what I do is when I think I'm allergic to something, I'll take my pulse. I'll take my blood pressure. I know how to do that. And if my blood pressure goes down and my pulse goes up, that's a sign I just ingested something I'm allergic to. Anyways, check out my website if you're allergic to aspirin.